After 44 years, the true story of Natalie Wood was finally found. It's even worse than we thought. Natalie Wood was one of the most beautiful actors in Hollywood. She was a real star who lit up the silver screen from the time she was a child. Natalia Nikolaevna Zakharenko was born on July 20, 1938, in San Francisco, California, to parents who came to the United States from Russia. From a very young age, she knew she would be great. Both of her parents, but especially her driven mother Maria, really wanted her to do well in Hollywood. Natalie had been in movies since she was 4 years old. Her first movie role was in the 1943 movie Happy Land. When she was young, quickly showed how talented she was and how deep her emotions went. In 1947, when she was 8 years old, she had her big break when she played a skeptical little girl who learns to believe in Santa Claus in Miracle on 34th Street. This movie brought her fame across the country and started a career in movies that she would have for the rest of her life. Natalie did well in adult parts, which is not often seen in the entertainment world, and stands out from other child stars who faded from fame. Natalie Wood grew up to be a beautiful young woman and a popular actor in the 1950s. She was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her role as Judy in Rebel Without a Cause, 1955, which starred James Dean. The part not only showed that she could play characters with complicated feelings, but it also cemented her place as one of the most bright young stars of her time. The movie itself became an important part of culture, and her relationship with Dean made them one of the most famous film pairings ever. In the 1960s, Wood's career hit a whole new level. She was in several movies that did well at the box office and with critics. One of these was Splendor in the Grass, 1961, which won her a second Oscar nomination, this time for Best Actress. Many people were deeply moved by how she played a young woman who was struggling with love, fear, and her mental health. In the 1961 musical West Side Story, she played Maria in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, which was another part that made her famous. Even though her singing voice was dubbed, the way she played the part made the movie one of the most famous shows of all time. Natalie Wood was in a lot of popular and well-reviewed movies in the 1960s and early 1970s. Some examples are Love with the Proper Stranger, 1963, Inside Daisy Clover, 1965, and This Property is Condemned, 1966. Even though Wood loved Hollywood, she often looked for greater meaning in the things she wrote, had a hard time with the restrictions that the business put on actors, especially those who had grown up in the spotlight. She was one of the most loved actors of her time because of her beauty, grace, and openness. She could show a lot of different feelings in a subtle and honest way, which made her performances very moving and easy to relate to. Natalie Wood was known for more than just her ability. She was also smart, funny, and professional. They admired and honored her because she worked with some of the best directors and actors in the business, like Elia Kazan, Warren Beatty, and Robert Redford. Natalie Wood's love life, especially her 2 marriages to actor Robert Wagner, got a lot of attention from the media and the public. They were one of the most talked-about pairs in Hollywood at the time. In a small but beautiful wedding in Scottsdale, Arizona, on December 28, 1957, they got married for the first time. As a child star and rising young actor, Wood had already gained a lot of fame by the time she was 19. And Wagner, who was 5 years older than her, was a charming and driven actress who was also making a name for himself in the entertainment business. Their wedding was written about in fan magazines and gossip columns, and it was hailed as a Hollywood fairy tale marriage. They put on a glamorous front, but problems and stresses started to show up behind the scenes. Several written reports, including biographies and investigations, say that their relationship took a big turn in the early 1960s. Around the beginning of 1961, Natalie is said to have found out that Wagner was having a romance with someone other than his wife. It was not with another woman. In the conservative social environment of the time, this news was shocking. Wood was said to have been devastated by it, which made her question her understanding of their marriage and hurt her deeply emotionally. Even though the full truth is still unknown and being discussed, these claims were widely talked about in Hollywood and later became known to the public. The couple announced a trial split on June 20th, 1961. This was the start of the end of what had seemed like a perfect relationship. After they split up, they quickly went through the formal process to get a divorce, which was finalized on April 27, 1962. They ended their marriage, which was a sad and disappointing time in Wood's personal life. She kept her cool in public and kept working professionally, even though Natalie Wood had several relationships with famous men after her split from Wagner. She continued to be the center of attention from the public and the press. Warren Beatty, an up-and-coming actor with a lot of charm who was quickly becoming famous, was one of her most famous rivals. Their love for each other was strong and fierce, even if they only lasted a short time. She was also romantically linked to British actor Michael Caine, whose cool attitude and rising fame made him one of the most desirable single men of the decade. She was also linked to David Niven Jr., the famous actor David Niven's son, who came from the same Hollywood background and group of friends as her. In the glitz and chaos of celebrity life, Wood continued to look for meaningful relationships in all of these connections. Ladislav Blatnik, a wealthy Venezuelan shoemaker, broke off his engagement to her in 1965, which caused her more mental turmoil. Their relationship looked like it could work out, and it made them think about a life outside of show business. The engagement was eventually broken off, though, which added to the list of unfulfilled personal ties in her life, and made her feel more restless and emotionally longing. Natalie found love again in the late 1960s when she started going out with British film director Richard Gregson. Over the course of almost 3 years, they grew together in a way that was calmer and more stable than her past relationships. They got married on May 30th, 1969, and for a while it looked like Wood had found a more stable home life. When their daughter Natasha Gregson Wagner was born on September 29, 1970, they were even happier. Natasha would later become an actress like her mother, carrying on Wood's artistic tradition. But soon after Natasha was born, the marriage started to fall apart. Wood asked for a divorce on August 4, 1971, and it was finalized on April 12, 1972. The breakup was another letdown, but Wood stayed committed to co-parenting and improving the health of her daughter. Wood was pulled back to Robert Wagner, the man she had a long-term relationship with, out of the blue in the months after her second divorce. They got back together at the end of January 1972. Many people were surprised by Wood's choice, but his friends said it was both inevitable and the right thing for him to do. After getting back together, the couple got married again on July 16, 1972. The wedding this time was smaller and more private. It took place on the yacht Ramblin' Rose, which was anchored off the beautiful coast of Malibu's Paradise Cove. A new chapter of hope and healing began when they vowed to stick together again. They had their daughter Courtney Wagner on March 9, 1974. This gave them the sense of family they had been looking for a long time. But later, claims came out that Wood's personal life may have stayed more difficult than it seemed in public, even during this time in her life when things seemed to be going smoothly. Former FBI agent Donald G. Wilson made a disputed claim about Wood in 2015, many years after she had died. He said that he had been having an affair with her in secret for 4 years, starting while she was pregnant with Courtney. Wilson's claims had been spreading before through outside sources, but in 2015 he directly confirmed them, and in 2016 he went into more detail in a documentary for the Reels network. Wilson says they had an emotional as well as a physical bond, and they kept their relationship private because she was married in public. Wagner and other people close to Wood have never confirmed these claims, and many people doubt that they are true. However, the story added another layer of mystery to Wood's already complicated emotional world. Natalie Wood has written many books about the unique stresses of growing up in the public eye, dealing with fame, and looking for lasting love in a world where image and reality often didn't match up. Her love story, which included love, loss, reunions, and rumors, is still a moving and deeply human part of her Hollywood heritage. Natalie Wood's tragic death has been one of Hollywood's most perplexing and haunting unsolved secrets for more than 40 years, with many theories, conflicting stories, and painful guesses. The world was shocked when news came out in late 1981 that the star of West Side Story and Rebel Without a Cause had drowned near Catalina Island after spending the night on her boat, the Splendor. Wood was only 43 years old when she died. She was at the top of her job and personal fame at the time of her death, which happened quickly and for no clear reason. It happened on a boat trip she was supposed to take with her husband, actor Robert Wagner, and a friend, actor Christopher Walken. It caused a huge media frenzy and left a lot of questions open. The official story has been full of strange inconsistencies from the start. The police quickly said that she drowned and died, but many people, including close friends, family, and fans, never believed that. Many red flags were raised by the strange events that happened that terrible night in November 1981. On the yacht, there was allegedly a heated fight about Natalie's fear of dark water for no clear reason and the fact that she had many bruises on her body. Some people think she may have been beaten or fought before she fell into the water. The people who were with her that night were acting strangely and saying different things, which made things even more confusing. Wagner was the last person who saw her living and was known to have died. For decades, there was talk of foul play, but the case was officially closed. That is, until new witness reports and forensic evidence came to light in the 2010s, giving the case a new sense of urgency. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department started looking into it again in 2011 after Dennis Davern, the captain of the boat, changed his story in public. He said he lied to protect Wagner and now said that a fight between the two of them had turned violent and that Wagner had not called for help when Wood went missing. This shocking new information, along with increased pressure from investigative reporters and Natalie's family, caused the police to look over the first autopsy again and talk to more witnesses. The results were terrible. In 2012, Wood's death certificate was changed by the coroner's office from accidental drowning to drowning and other undetermined factors. This move supported the idea that the original results may have missed or ignored signs of possible wrongdoing. When the FBI got involved, the stakes went up a lot. Investigators found statements from decades ago, problems in interviews, and small signs of interference or absence. Notes that seemed to hint at a possible cover-up were among the most upsetting discoveries. They were combined with behavioral analyses and psychological profiles that painted a disturbing picture of what happened on that boat. Wagner had long said he wasn't guilty, but in 2018 he was officially named a person of interest, which brought him back under public and court scrutiny. On top of all of this is game theory, an idea that is usually used in economics or strategy, but fits this situation horrifyingly well. Imagine being in a small area with 3 strong people who all have something to lose. Tensions are high, and people's reputations are at stake. That terrible night in 1981, Natalie Wood, Robert Wagner, Wood's brainstorm co-star Christopher Walken, and the ship's captain were the only ones on the boat. Game theory says that when people have few choices and a lot at stake, they often don't act with honesty in mind, but to protect their own outcomes. Some theories say that the conversations on Splendor turned into a sad game of strategic silence, misdirection, and moving blame, where the goal wasn't to find the truth, but to stay alive during the chaos. The past between Robert Wagner and Wood added to the complexity. Their marriage was passionate but rocky. They had broken up and gotten back together several times, and there was often strain and jealousy between them. Reports say that Wagner was getting more and more angry about Wood's friendship with Walken the night Natalie died. This could lead to a heated fight. Later, statements from the boat's captain, Dennis Davern, showed that Wagner had become angry and that there may have been a heated argument right before Natalie disappeared. Davern said that he was told to keep quiet after the event, which he said he had regretted for decades. On the other hand, Christopher Walken has mostly kept quiet about what really happened, making rumors even stronger. He was never accused of doing anything wrong, but his lack of involvement in public life made a lot of people wonder if he, too, was part of a bigger, more planned game where fear, loyalty, and self-preservation ruled instead of clarity or morality. The truth that came out in the end wasn't just about a terrible accident. That is, about the evil that can live under the shine of fame and fortune. It showed how fear, power, and competing motivations can change the truth. There are times when the truth can be buried not by time, but by people who have the most to lose. Investigators and reporters have both agreed that solving the Natalie Wood case did not bring peace of mind. It brought something more scary. It's important to remember that justice delayed can also mean justice lost, and that the worst part of the story might not have been the death itself, but the long period of silence that followed. After 44 years, people stopped thinking of Natalie Wood as a beautiful starlet who died in a terrible accident and started thinking about a scarier option. That her death might not have been an accident at all, but rather something that could have been stopped, or even murder. Famous people, power, and quiet had covered that up. The long-overdue investigation finally made everyone face a nasty truth that lies beneath Hollywood's shiny surface. That even its most beloved symbols could be affected by evil, lies, or darkness. In the case of Natalie Wood, the truth, even though it came later than expected, was more upsetting and sad than anyone had thought.